Welcome to Crime Canvas. Before we begin, if stories about justice, betrayal, and the human spirit resonate with you, please subscribe to our channel. Your support truly motivates us to bring you the most compelling true stories, carefully researched and thoughtfully told. Every subscription encourages us to give our best. In the glittering heart of Abu Dhabi, where glass towers reach toward endless blue skies and dreams are built on ambition and oil wealth, a love story was about to become a cautionary tale. This is the story of how one woman's trust transformed into calculated justice, how a perfect life crumbled to reveal devastating lies, and how the pursuit of truth can exact a price no one anticipated. What you're about to hear is a story of cultural collision, systematic deception, and revenge so meticulously planned that it would destroy not just a marriage, but an entire family's legacy. This is the story of Nicole Bennett, and the night she chose truth over peace. Nicole Bennett never imagined her life would take such a dramatic turn toward the Middle East. Growing up in Seattle, Washington, she had embodied the American dream of independence and professional achievement. After graduating from Columbia University with a degree in marketing communications, she fought her way up Manhattan's ruthless advertising ladder, landing a position at Henderson Creative Group, where she quickly became known as someone who could handle the impossible accounts. By age 29, she was managing budgets in the millions, flying to client meetings across the country, living in a renovated loft in Brooklyn, and building the sophisticated urban existence that represented everything she had worked toward since graduation. She was confident, independent, successful. Everything she thought she wanted. Her entire trajectory changed on a frigid February morning in 2012, when she stepped into a small coffee shop near MIT to escape a sudden snowstorm. She had been in Boston for a client presentation when chance placed her at the same corner table as Tariq Hassan, who was completing his MBA while preparing to return to Abu Dhabi to join his family's extensive business network in the rapidly expanding energy sector. Tariq was 35 years old. Everything Nicole had never expected to fall for. Traditional yet progressive, deeply rooted in his Emirati culture yet fascinated by Western perspectives, and absolutely captivated by the idea of building a family that would honor both their backgrounds. Their courtship unfolded with passionate discussions about creating a life that would blend East and West, and Tariq's earnest promises that together they could build something extraordinary in Abu Dhabi. When Tariq proposed in late 2013, presenting Nicole with a stunning diamond ring, she found herself saying yes to completely reinventing her life. The decision to move to Abu Dhabi meant abandoning the career she had spent years building, leaving behind her support network, and trusting that love would sustain her through the massive cultural transition ahead. Her friends thought she was making a mistake. Her mother worried she was throwing away her independence. But Nicole was captivated by the romance of it all, by Tariq's vision of their future together, by the adventure of building something new in a city where ancient traditions met modern ambition. Their 2014 wedding was breathtaking, held at the Emirates Palace with ceremonies incorporating both American traditions and Emirati customs. Nicole wore a stunning designer gown for the Western ceremony and changed into a traditional Emirati dress adorned with gold threading for the cultural celebration. As she looked out at the Arabian Gulf from their honeymoon suite, Nicole felt certain that love really could bridge any divide. The early years seemed to validate every sacrifice she had made. Tariq's career flourished as he secured a prominent position with Abu Dhabi National Energy Company, allowing them to lease a magnificent villa in Al Raha Beach, complete with a private pool and manicured gardens overlooking the water. When Nicole discovered she was pregnant with twins in 2015, the joy seemed to complete their perfect picture. She embraced her role as mother to Olivia and Emma, their beautiful daughters who would grow up speaking Arabic, English, and French, embodying the multicultural future she and Tariq had envisioned. Nicole threw herself into expatriate life with her characteristic determination. She joined the American Women's Club of Abu Dhabi, volunteered at international charity events, and learned basic Arabic to communicate with Tariq's family. She created a social media presence showcasing their beautiful life. Family beach days at Saadiyat Island, elegant dinners at Abu Dhabi's finest restaurants, holiday trips from the French Riviera to the Seychelles. From the outside, everything appeared flawless. Nicole Bennett had successfully reinvented herself, becoming the bridge between two worlds, the perfect example of cross-cultural success. But beneath the surface of their carefully curated existence, something was beginning to shift. By early 2018, subtle changes began creeping into their seemingly perfect life. Tariq started working longer hours, claiming increased responsibilities required evening meetings and weekend conferences. His phone, once casually left on counters, now remained constantly at his side, buzzing with messages he would quickly silence or answer in private. Their conversations gradually became more superficial, focused on schedules and logistics rather than the deep connection that had brought them together. Nicole noticed Tariq seemed emotionally distant during family time, often distracted even when playing with the girls. The spontaneous romantic gestures that had characterized their early marriage slowly disappeared, replaced by a routine that felt more like cohabitation than partnership. When she tried addressing the growing distance, Tariq blamed work stress and the natural evolution of marriage settling into a more mature phase. He assured her this was normal, that all couples went through periods of adjustment, that his love for her hadn't changed. The cultural isolation that had once felt adventurous began weighing heavily on Nicole's shoulders. Despite her integration efforts, she often felt caught between worlds. Too American for traditional gatherings, yet too changed to relate to newly arrived expatriates. Tariq's family had begun making subtle comments about her role as a wife, suggesting she should focus more on supporting Tariq's career advancement and less on volunteer activities and Western friendships. Nicole was 32 years old, living in a foreign country, with 2 young daughters and a marriage that was slowly becoming unrecognizable. As 2019 began, she found herself lying awake at night, wondering when their marriage had begun feeling more like a performance than a partnership. She told herself every marriage went through difficult phases, that the pressures of raising children and building careers naturally created stress. She had sacrificed too much to consider that something might be fundamentally wrong. But deep in her heart, Nicole Bennett knew the perfect expatriate life she had worked so hard to create was built on foundations beginning to crack. What she didn't realize was that those cracks would soon reveal a betrayal so profound it would transform her from a trusting wife into an architect of devastating justice. It was on a scorching Thursday afternoon in March 2019 that Nicole Bennett's carefully constructed world began to crumble in the most devastating way imaginable. She had taken Olivia and Emma to Yas Mall for their weekly routine, shopping followed by ice cream at the food court. The mall was bustling with its usual mix of tourists and expatriate families when Nicole spotted a familiar figure near the luxury wing. Her heart stopped as she recognized Tariq's distinctive profile near a quiet coffee shop. But he wasn't alone. A young woman with long dark hair was pressed close against him, her hand resting intimately on his chest as he leaned down to whisper something in her ear. The gesture was unmistakably romantic, tender in a way that made Nicole's stomach lurch with recognition and disbelief. For several seconds, Nicole stood frozen while her daughters tugged at her hands, asking why she had stopped walking. This couldn't be her husband, her faithful Tariq, the man who had built a life with her based on love and cultural respect. But as she watched, the young woman tilted her face up toward Tariq's, and he responded by brushing a strand of hair from her cheek with gentle intimacy that Nicole recognized because it had once been reserved for her. The tender gesture shattered any hope that this might be innocent. With shaking hands, Nicole pulled out her phone and began taking photos, her instincts from her advertising days kicking in. Even as her world collapsed, she managed to capture several clear images of Tariq and the mystery woman together, their body language telling a story that no explanation could rationalize away. The young woman appeared to be in her early 20s, strikingly beautiful with polished elegance that suggested education and professional success. She was dressed in a stylish abaya, her makeup flawless despite the afternoon heat. When Tariq placed his hand on the small of her back to guide her toward a secluded seating area, Nicole knew with sick certainty that she was witnessing something that had been developing for far longer than this single afternoon. Later that evening, after enduring dinner with Tariq who acted as if nothing had happened, Nicole locked herself in their home office and began investigating the woman she had seen. Using the photos she had taken, Nicole examined every detail. The woman's distinctive handbag, her jewelry, even the logo on her coffee cup. Through reverse image searches and social media investigation techniques from her marketing career, Nicole gradually pieced together her identity. Her name was Layla Mansour, a 25-year-old financial analyst who worked directly under Tariq at Abu Dhabi National Energy Company. Her LinkedIn profile revealed a brilliant young woman who had graduated with honors from the American University of Sharjah and had been rapidly promoted within the company's strategic planning department. As Nicole scrolled through Layla's carefully curated Instagram account, she felt a complex mixture of rage and grudging recognition. The young woman was everything Nicole had once been. Ambitious, career-focused, completely devoted to building her professional reputation. Her photos showed sophisticated Abu Dhabi experiences from art gallery openings to weekend trips to cultural sites. She was unmarried, came from a prominent Emirati family, and represented exactly the kind of accomplished young woman that traditional families would consider an ideal match for a successful man like Tariq. Over the following weeks, Nicole became a detective in her own home, using skills she had never imagined needing. She accessed Tariq's laptop while he was at work, finding email threads that confirmed her worst fears. Credit card statements showed expensive dinners at restaurants she had never been to, hotel bookings for weekend getaways during his supposed business trips, and jewelry purchases that had never made their way to her. The paper trail painted a picture of a relationship that had been developing for over 2 years, complete with romantic milestones and intimate celebrations. The most devastating evidence came when Nicole began recording Tariq's late-night phone conversations. She heard him speaking to Layla in Arabic mixed with English, his voice filled with tenderness and passion that had disappeared from their own interactions. He made promises about their future together, discussed plans for introducing her properly to his family, and spoke about her with reverence that suggested this was far more than a casual affair. But the discovery that finally broke Nicole's heart completely came when she found legal documents hidden in Tariq's briefcase. Real estate contracts showed he had purchased a luxury apartment in Dubai Marina under both his and Layla's names. Bank statements revealed joint accounts opened without Nicole's knowledge. Most shocking were preliminary marriage preparation documents that made it clear Tariq was planning to take Layla as his second wife under the UAE's Islamic law provisions for polygamy. The papers included religious consultation notes, family approval letters, and financial arrangements for supporting 2 households simultaneously. As Nicole sat in her beautiful villa, surrounded by the life she thought she had built with a man she thought she knew, she realized that Tariq hadn't just been having an affair. He had been systematically constructing an entirely separate life with another woman. The betrayal was complete, calculated, and had been developing right under her nose. Even more crushing was evidence that some members of Tariq's family were aware of the arrangement and had given their approval, viewing polygamy as an acceptable solution that would allow Tariq to maintain his established household while adding a more culturally suitable second wife. The woman who had once trusted completely now understood that she had been living a lie for years. Nicole spent a week in private emotional collapse that she carefully concealed from everyone around her. During the day, while Tariq was at work and the girls were at school, she would lock herself in their master bathroom and sob until her chest ached, the weight of betrayal crushing down on her. She found herself caught in an impossible psychological struggle between her Western values that viewed marriage as an exclusive partnership and the Islamic legal framework that made Tariq's planned second marriage completely legitimate within UAE law. Her greatest fear during these dark hours was that Olivia and Emma would somehow sense the devastation consuming their mother. She worked overtime to maintain the appearance of normalcy when they were home, but late at night, she would slip into the guest room and spend hours researching her options. The conversations with embassy staff were sobering. Abu Dhabi's family courts generally favored local customs, and her chances of maintaining custody of her daughters, if she pursued a contentious divorce, were far from guaranteed. The possibility of losing Olivia and Emma while Tariq started his new life with Layla was more terrifying than any personal humiliation she might endure. It was during this moment of complete despair that something fundamental shifted inside Nicole Bennett, transforming her from a devastated victim into a woman with a plan that would be as methodical as it was devastating. Rather than confronting Tariq privately, which would give him the opportunity to control the narrative and potentially manipulate the situation in his favor, Nicole made a strategic decision that would change everything. She realized that in a culture where family honor and public reputation carried enormous weight, the most effective weapon she could wield was truth delivered in the most humiliating context possible. The upcoming 5th anniversary of their wedding, which they had been discussing celebrating with a large family gathering, suddenly presented itself as the perfect opportunity for the kind of public exposure that would destroy not just Tariq's marriage, but his standing within his own family and social circle. Nicole began planning their anniversary celebration with the same meticulous attention to detail she had once applied to major advertising campaigns. She reached out to Tariq's mother, suggesting they host a formal dinner party at one of Abu Dhabi's premium hotels to celebrate 5 years of marriage that had bridged 2 cultures and produced 2 beautiful daughters. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Tariq's family was delighted that their American daughter-in-law was taking such initiative in honoring their family traditions. They praised her growth as a wife and her commitment to maintaining family values, completely unaware that she was orchestrating what would become the most devastating family gathering in the Hassan family history. Nicole selected the Rosewood Abu Dhabi for the celebration, booking their private dining room that could accommodate 40 guests and came equipped with state-of-the-art audiovisual equipment that she would need for her presentation. She told Tariq that she wanted to create a special slideshow celebrating their journey together, their children's milestones, and the beautiful life they had built in Abu Dhabi. He was touched by what he perceived as her renewed commitment to their marriage and enthusiastically supported the idea, even offering to help with the technical setup. The irony was not lost on Nicole that her husband was eagerly assisting with the preparation for his own public destruction. The evening of their 5th wedding anniversary arrived with Abu Dhabi's typical March perfection. Clear skies, gentle temperatures, and the kind of golden sunset that made the city skyline shimmer. The Rosewood's private dining room had been transformed into an elegant celebration space with white roses and gold accents. As family members began arriving, Nicole moved through the gathering with the grace of a seasoned hostess, greeting each relative with warm embraces. She wore a stunning sapphire blue dress, looking every inch the successful expatriate wife who had seamlessly integrated into Emirati culture. Tariq basked in the attention and praise from his extended family, completely oblivious to the devastating surprise that awaited him. During the cocktail hour, he delivered a speech about their journey together, speaking eloquently about how Nicole had sacrificed her career in New York to build a life with him in Abu Dhabi. His parents beamed with pride as he described Nicole as the perfect wife and mother, while his siblings nodded approvingly at what appeared to be a genuine celebration of cross-cultural marital success. As dinner concluded and the formal program began, Nicole approached the microphone with poised confidence. She thanked the family for their love and support, spoke movingly about the challenges and joys of building a bicultural marriage, and expressed her deep gratitude for being welcomed into such a loving family. The room was filled with warm smiles as she announced that she had prepared a special presentation celebrating their 5-year journey together. The lights dimmed as the projection screen illuminated, and the family settled back in their chairs with expectant pleasure. The presentation began with early photos of Nicole and Tariq during their Boston courtship, their engagement announcement, and the elaborate wedding celebration. But as the chronological journey progressed, the tone began to shift. Instead of the expected family vacation photos, the screen began displaying images that made the room fall into confused silence. Time-stamped photographs showed Tariq in intimate embraces with a young woman who was clearly not his wife. The progression was methodical and devastating. Coffee dates, romantic dinners, weekend getaways, and increasingly intimate moments that documented a relationship developing parallel to his marriage. As the visual evidence mounted, Nicole's carefully prepared narration began playing through the sound system, her voice calm and factual as she explained exactly what the family was witnessing. The audio portion was perhaps even more devastating. Tariq's own voice filled the elegant dining room as recorded phone conversations played, his tender declarations of love for Layla clearly audible. The room erupted into chaos as the full scope of Tariq's deception became undeniable. His elderly grandmother began crying. His mother started screaming in Arabic. His brothers launched into furious arguments about family honor. Tariq himself made desperate attempts to stop the presentation, but Nicole had secured the technical setup in ways that made interference impossible. As the presentation concluded and the room gradually quieted into stunned silence, Nicole stepped forward once more. From her elegant clutch, she withdrew a set of legal documents that she placed on the table in front of Tariq. The divorce petition outlined her demands with crystal clarity. Her final statement to the assembled family was delivered with quiet dignity that contrasted sharply with the emotional chaos surrounding her. She spoke about her deep respect for Emirati culture and her genuine love for the family that had welcomed her, but explained that respect and love could not coexist with systematic deception and betrayal. Tariq's complete emotional collapse in front of his entire extended family marked the end of not just his marriage, but his standing as a respected member of the clan. The morning after the anniversary dinner, Abu Dhabi's expatriate community was buzzing with whispers about the most spectacular public family destruction anyone could remember. Within hours, guests had shared details with friends and colleagues, and the story spread through the tightly knit expat networks. The Hassan family, once respected pillars of traditional Emirati society, found themselves at the center of a scandal that challenged everything they had built their reputation upon. The workplace consequences for Tariq were swift and merciless. Within a week, he was quietly demoted and transferred to a position with minimal responsibility. His colleagues who had once respected him now avoided him in hallways. For Layla Mansour, the aftermath was equally devastating. Her family, horrified by the public scandal, immediately removed her from Abu Dhabi. The promising career she had built was effectively over, and the scandal would follow her throughout the close-knit professional community of the UAE. The legal proceedings moved with surprising speed, aided by the overwhelming evidence Nicole had compiled. Dubai's family courts, presented with irrefutable proof of adultery and deception, granted Nicole's custody demands in full. The financial settlement was substantial, reflecting both the assets they had accumulated and the court's recognition of the sacrifices Nicole had made. Within 3 months of the anniversary dinner, Nicole Bennett was legally free from her marriage and financially secure enough to rebuild her life on her own terms. The expatriate community's response was overwhelmingly supportive, with women from across Abu Dhabi's international community rallying around her as a symbol of strength and independence. But the story doesn't end with justice served. By summer 2019, those who still maintained contact with Tariq reported that he seemed to be descending into depression and anxiety, unable to rebuild his life or find a path forward from the complete destruction of everything he had once valued. The guilt of losing his daughters, the shame of his family's rejection, and the hopelessness of his professional and social situation consumed him. On August 17, 2019, Tariq Hassan was found dead in the small apartment he had been renting in Al Reem Island. The medical examiner's report confirmed suicide. Beside his body was a handwritten note that contained only 7 words. "I lost everything because I lied." The news sent shockwaves through both the Hassan family and Abu Dhabi's expatriate community, forcing everyone to grapple with the unintended consequences of Nicole's perfect revenge. For Nicole herself, the news brought a complex mixture of emotions. Vindication tempered by tragedy, justice shadowed by loss, and the sobering realization that truth could be both liberating and destructive in ways she had never fully anticipated. Today, Nicole Bennett lives in Abu Dhabi with Olivia and Emma, having rebuilt her marketing career and created a new life defined by independence and authenticity rather than cultural compromise. Her story has become legendary within expatriate circles, serving as both inspiration and cautionary tale about the power of truth and the devastating consequences of betrayal. This story teaches us several profound lessons. First, that deception, no matter how carefully planned, eventually reveals itself. Second, that cultural differences in marriage require not just love, but absolute honesty and respect. Third, that revenge, even when justified, can exact a price no one anticipates. Nicole sought to destroy a lie and succeeded beyond her imagination. But the price of that truth would resonate through fractured families and broken lives for years to come. In a world obsessed with perfection and carefully curated appearances, she chose truth over illusion, justice over peace, and in doing so changed not only her own life but the lives of everyone touched by her devastating, perfect, terrible revenge. Thank you for watching Crime Canvas. If the story moved you, challenged you, or made you think differently about truth and justice, please subscribe to our channel. Your support truly matters and motivates us to continue bringing you these important, thought-provoking stories. Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below, and remember that every story we tell carries lessons about human nature, choices, and consequences. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay compassionate, and remember that truth, while powerful, must always be wielded with an understanding of its weight.